Welcome to the Deconstructing Data podcast. I'm Jessie Lezak, fractional CMO at BDEX, along with BDEX's founder and CEO, David Finkelstein. Good to see you, David, as usual. What's new?
Hey, Jesse, you too. Good to see you. Yeah, this week got me all screwed up, doing 2 episodes this week. And when we did the episode on Tuesday, then like Wednesday came and I was thinking it was Friday. And it's like, I could not keep track of the days. So here we are, it's Thursday and time to do another broadcast. So excited to meet our new guest.
Yeah, definitely. And today on Deconstructing Data, we are thrilled to welcome Max Gomez Montejo. He's CMO at NextNet Media. Max's innovative data-driven approach transforms brands, including The Hoth, which is a leading search engine marketing company, and Authority Builders. So they boost businesses with services like SEO, PPC, content creation, and they offer a SEO reseller program. So Max's experience, it spans from B2C to B2B with e-commerce, travel, telco, and he's driven growth within multiple industries. So I think this is going to be a great discussion. And needless to say, too, he's also a guest professor at multiple universities. So he has a lot of wisdom to share. I'm really excited to welcome him on. So let's bring him in. Welcome, Max.
Thank you, Jesse, David. Thanks for having me today, and very happy to be in your podcast today.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you joining the show today, Max. Why don't you help kick it off for us and give our listeners and viewers an opportunity to get to know a little bit about you, hear a little bit about your background and what led you to, become CMO of NextNet Media, and a little bit about what you guys are doing for your customers as well.
Perfect. Thank you for the question, David. So I'm Max Gomez Montejo. I'm currently the CMO at NextNet Media. NextNet Media is the leading brand in the SEO industry. When I say SEO, it means technical SEO, backlinks, content, syndication, and different products. We have 6 different companies underneath the umbrella, and I've been acting as a CMO for the last 19 months, pretty much with a big task, which is find the right customer, create messages from a marketing perspective that will resonate with clients in a long time, and also to be able to understand our right customer. I was born and raised in Colombia. I came here to the States 13 years ago. I'm 40 years old, and pretty much in between my different hobbies and also my professional career, I like teaching. I teach in different universities in South America. My main area of expertise is marketing strategies, media strategies, and organic strategies as well. And just became a father 24 months ago. And I'm very happy, very proud father of an amazing girl. So that's pretty much about me. Now let me tell you a bit of what we're doing here next in media. As you may know, we've been living on a very challenging times when it comes to organic search, when it comes to traffic, when it comes to improving your assets, when it comes to the website. So NextNet Media is the leading house for more than 200,000 business success stories that we've been helping them to increase their rankings and also to increase their traffics, increase their leads, and of course, increase their income. So we provide different solutions from an SEO perspective, from an organic perspective, to make sure our clients connect with their customers every time someone has a need when it comes to Google and now AI, because you may know different clients are searching on AI as well. So we cover different topics. It's been a quite challenging year, but happy to be here and to help our clients. So that's pretty much a little bit of who I am and what I do at NextNet Media.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks, Max. Look, it's going to be an interesting conversation because, as you said, it's been some challenging times, right? I mean, there's been so many changes in digital marketing just in the past few years. We talk about a lot of these changes, from the deprecation of cookies and limited tracking and regulation, now AI. So I'm interested to sort of get your take into where you see it all going and what are you seeing, with respect to the challenges, what are you seeing the solutions going forward with what NextNet Media is doing with their clients?
I think like the challenges we have, let's answer this question from a brand perspective. I think any or every single brand right now, they're wondering what's a data strategy, what's the first data approach, how do they get better when it comes to reaching out to new audiences without abusing or using third-party cookies, and also how to make sure they rank from an organic perspective on Google, Bing, Yahoo, and also ChatGPT or any other AI chatbot that we're seeing right now. So I think the challenge comes first to understand the customer, also to understand your weaknesses when it comes to your first party data. It's funny, but in this 2024 year, we still have clients that they don't understand what's the first party data. They don't understand anything. They don't collect any data. They're just wasting their dollars. So I think that's the first challenge. The other one comes to the content part. We've seen different trends. We've seen clients who believe they can do content on a chatbot like ChatGPT or other competitor they have, but we've seen them coming back to us because there's something that's been lacking, and that's a subject matter expertise from that content. And that's something we can touch base later today. But I think prioritizing your content from an expertise and experience part is something that it's a big challenge right now. And the last one comes on the data perspective, on the way you collect that data. We've seen clients improving their tech stack, but also not making any decisions from the different points they get. So sometimes you're just having a billion of KPIs, but you're not making any decisions. Once you put all those together and the consumer is in the middle, there are different challenges that we're just trying to solve as a company. Now, Next Media comes handy to understand what's the go-to-market when it comes to finding new niches. Now that you've seen like the users are start to switch from a single or two keyword search to a prompt. The second part is we identify new territories where they can go after new clients, but also we try to teach them how to protect their brand territory as well. And then also we take care of their monthly search volume they get from different keywords, just to make sure they have a higher impact and a higher appearance when someone has a needs on any given search engine. So I think that's a big challenge. But yeah, there are different things happening. I think it's been hard to keep up with the new challenges, but in those three buckets, as you said, I think that's where the year is going to be. If we hit those three buckets from a brand perspective, it's going to be a good year.
I think to your point, there's so many of these challenges that it's important that companies realize that they need help, right? And they need help from companies like yours that understand these challenges and they're dealing with them every day and can help sort of guide people through those challenges, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something like some clients are starting to notice right now. Let's go back in time 5-6 years ago. We will say, oh, my organic strategy is the best one because 95% of my organic traffic comes from my branded keywords. For those who are listening to us, branded keywords means the searches an user is making based on the name of the business. But that's a given. If you're not positioning your website with the name of your business on either Google, OpenAI, wherever you search for, that's a big mistake and that's a red flag. But what most of our clients and most of the clients were missing was the big blue ocean when it comes to long tail keywords or vectorized keywords, which is a whole combination of sentences or even a prompt. For those who are listening to us today, a prompt is a combination of instructions that you give to a chatbot. So with that being said, there are millions of opportunities for brands to identify the right target, the right fit customer, but also to identify new opportunities for people that had never been exposed to that brand. So I think now some clients and most of the brands as well, they've realized that power of long tail keywords. They know the value of understanding that maybe it's not going to pay off today as a KPI, but in the future, you're going to bring that person back to your website if you appear at the beginning of the search funnel. But also just how do you prepare for that one? And sometimes they don't even know how to do it. That's what we're here for. But yeah, that's a great challenge. And companies like the ones we have in the Next Media umbrella, we're helping our clients just to understand this point of view to make sure they thrive in the digital world.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. I mean, I'm glad that someone's doing it because you're right. I mean, the short tail keywords or just the branded keywords, as you're saying, it's not enough anymore. And long tail keywords, even that much isn't even enough anymore. So, it'd be interesting to see, taking the old school like keyword research practices and seeing how you apply that to, prompt research. But I'm sure that's a whole other topic. And we have a few other interesting ones here. So we could transition into Google's generative search revolution with this. Do you want to kind of transition us from where we were here into that, Max?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time to introduce this topic. As you may know, there are different things happening every time you use Google. In 60-70% of the time you're using Google on a mobile device, you're going to get an SGE result. That means that the search generative experience, it's the top one once you start searching for that keyword, prompt, sentence, whoever you call it. And then we start to see different things that are going to be happening this year. We're forecasting here in Next Media that websites are gonna drop 25% at least from an organic traffic perspective. The reason is most of the actions you go to Google, most of your questions you go to search engines are going to be resolved by AI or by different tactics in the page. So you won't have to click to go to the website. So that's something that's happening and it's been growing as we speak. So I think that's the first thing for you. If you have a brand, if you have a website, and if you're seeing like your traffic is going down, don't blame it on your provider. Don't blame it on the market. Just blame it like the fact that SGE is here to stay. That's the first part. The second is, okay, if SGE is here to start, let's play with it. Let's understand how we can get the best of it. And here's the other part, which is let's start understanding your content strategy. We're trying to introduce to our brands, to every client we work with, something we call topical authority maps. Topical authority maps is a content strategy that we pretty much start from the branded keywords, long tail keywords. And at the end of the day, what we do is we create a whole prompt strategy for our clients. So we know the different keywords combinations that the users are using, or what's the ones that the users are gonna likely to use in the future. And then we prepare that brand to appear when it comes to the different searches. At the same time, we're starting to see clients and customers searching on OpenAI, for example, on ChatGPT. We don't even know yet what's the best way to position websites on ChatGPT, but what we do know is backlinks, content, domain ratings, domain authority are going to play a great part of the success of a brand on ChatGPT. Let me give you an example that happened to me the other day of one of my clients. I was playing with ChatGPT and I was asking different things about this is a consumer goods brand. And I was asking ChatGPT about different recipes I can use for my daughter. And I asked, what's the brand you recommend me? This brand that we were trying to pitch didn't appear at all on OpenAI. So at some point, we're going to start seeing people going to Google to get specific answers about topics, or maybe go to ChatGPT to get in-depth answers when it comes to a heavy topic that they don't understand. Or answer as an agency, as a company here is to be able to help our clients to be in both at the same time. And that's a big challenge as well. So I think if you're panicking out there every time you use or you hear the word AI or SGE, I will say, let's embrace it. Let's understand what's the best way for you to understand how to get on top of it. Also, understand what your competitors are doing because you cannot face them with different tactics, and keep with it because this industry is evolving as we speak. Every other day, we have something on the news. And our company, Next Media, is just trying to keep up as well to provide a solution for every time you hear something new. So I think it's just, let's keep up with SG. Let's embrace it and don't see it as an enemy. Just see it as another tool that you can use to leverage your customers.
That's a good point. I mean, I did a similar search. I don't even remember what it was for, but I was like, okay, tell me who the top 10 companies are for X. And, I think I was in Bard or whatever they're calling it now, Gemini. And, it came back with a list. But then the question is, how did it determine that list? And if you're one of those companies, how do you get on that list? And it'll be really interesting, to your point, to try to figure out like what we need to do from a content standpoint, or backlinks or whatever it is, in order to get the AI to recognize, your company as a leader in whatever that, topic is. It certainly is going to be an interesting challenge.
Yeah, and let me just give some color to that point, because I think that's a good question. The way I understand organic efforts, I always see it in 4 different buckets. It's everything you do from a technical perspective. That's bucket number 1. The second is everything you do from a backlink perspective. The third one is content. The fourth one is local SEO, if you have a business that has multiple locations. And the last one could be programmatic SEO. Once you put everything together, you have like a great success when it comes to organic rankings. But you asked me about content. Let's just deep dive on content. A few months ago, I was talking to some of my clients, and they were like, Max, we are struggling because we can't find real SMEs. We can find real subject matter expertise in my topic. And this topic was a very easy in theory, which was just shoes and how to get running shoes. And I think the fact that we can rely on AI to create content is diminishing at some point the expertise and the experience of a writer who's been using the product. So what I try to advise my clients and my students at the same time is just, we can use AI just to create the framework of our content. We can first get the topical authority strategy to understand what's the keyword overarching strategy. Then we can use AI to start just brainstorming about what the different topics we can have. But once we have them, and once we have the first paragraphs, we need to add our expertise in that content. Google has been very clear about the use of AI content. They say you can use it AI as long as you show the content reflects experience, expertise, its trustworthiness, and at the end of the day provides everything at the same time and has authority. So I think that's something that the brand needs to understand. It's not just leaving the content to the sake of the AI tool. It's just giving your authority, your trustworthiness on the pieces you're writing. And then when it comes also to the technical part, letting your website be indexed by ChatGPT. There are different clients that they don't want ChatGPT to index to your website, and that's how they train their different algorithms. But maybe that's another reason how they are putting up in rankings when you ask those kind of prompts. So I would say we're gonna face maybe not an eruption of another search engine like ChatGPT, but we're gonna see people rely on what they recommend for the daily task or daily efforts or daily actions they do. It's hard, but at the end of the day, if you have your playbook, if you're producing good content, if your website ranks or like loads and doesn't make any mistakes in terms of page speeds or something like that, you're gonna be fine. But it's just keep working on your strategy. One last thing to add about content. Today, we are living a hyperinflation from a content perspective. It means that if my competitor can produce 30 articles a month, with technology, I can produce 60. And maybe my competitor is going to do 120. Maybe I'm going to be doing 200. The question that I ask everyone is, do you think that content is going to be read by your clients? Do you think you're going to get attention from that content that's going to be fulfilled only by AI with all the challenges it has? The answer could be no. So again, let's just go back to basics and provide good experiences to clients. That's all we need, providing good content, good experiences, leveraging what our brand reflects. It's hard to say it, it's hard to execute it, but that's what we are here in the market for.
It's all really great points.
Yeah, it's about, it's very similar to what we talk about in the data industry as a whole, data quality, over quantity. And it's the same thing with content, right? It's quality content over quantity.
Yeah, I don't know why some of our clients and the industry itself got into their brains like it's about quantity. And I think it's just also about quality. It doesn't matter if I have 20, 100, and 300. I can have 4 with a great cadence on a weekly basis, but providing insights, value, experiences, showing that we know about what the user wants. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes we forget that there's a client behind the screen. And then we also forget that that client's a human person. Let me give you some examples. When I used to work in the travel industry, We should have a chatbot and some different phone lines that people used to buy or packages from. Come to find out that 8 of 8 phone calls were based on questions about the property. How big is the pool? What happens if I take my kids? What happens if I need a refund? Multiple questions. And then when I started analyzing that data, I was like, that's our fault because we're not providing a good experience to the user that he's calling when they should be calling to make a purchase. Because again, we forget that we are talking to humans. We think it's just technology, but at the end of the day, there's a consumer that has different feelings. They go through different problems. They have a family. And we don't identify that ones because we don't know about who our client is. So you just go back to basics. Let's understand that we have humans in the back of the street as of now. Maybe in the future it's going to change, but today a human is trying to read my content and trying to make a purchase from my company. Sometimes we just disregard that fact.
That's a topic I feel like comes up on deconstructing data a lot. With data, it's easy to become very robotic and forget about the human and the story and the qualitative data behind all of it. So, I think that's makes a lot of sense that people are, well, especially right now in the boom of AI, it's so exciting that you can, oh my gosh, create 60 blogs in a week so easily. But is that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. And I love what you said is just, use it for inspiration, reference, but it's never the final draft. And you do need to have humans going in there. And at the end of the day, humans love a good story, right? So,
Yeah.
And a real story, and it has to be backed. So, wouldn't cite, I heard a story that, like lawyers have gotten in trouble by citing law from ChatGPT. And it's incorrect because ChatGPT will just make things up. So you can't like cite real sources out of ChatGPT. So you still do need some human intellect to, have quality content.
Yeah, it's all about quality, but it's also about understanding what does that human need from you. I think sometimes we made this mistake of just going to numbers and seeing like, oh, we just need to get more traffic, more conversions, more leads. But I always tell my team, just like, let's just stop a little bit, slow down. Let's get in a room and let's understand, first of all, who's our client? What are the different signals we're getting from an awareness, from an intent, from a closing perspective? What do we know from them? And then how do we turn those insights into experiences? I come from the with an advertising background, and it's just all about ideas. And believe it or not, at the beginning, when I used to do performance marketing, I was like, no, we don't need creativity. We just need technology. Nah, we just need to tell a good, compelling story because brands, clients will feel more comfortable once we tell a story, once we make get into their brains from a desire perspective, once we have compelling messages from a one-to-one perspective. Technology allows us to do today one-to-one messages or personalization. And then some people think personalization is only saying in an email, hey, Max, that's not personalization. It's just saying like, based on your habits, this is what you should be able to do. We understand that you like this amount of sports. This is what you should be able to do. And we have that data. We have that data from different signals, but we don't take that data into another next step. And I think that's where we're making mistakes as well. So it's not only about technology, fancy numbers, different terminology, different lingo, just as easy as tell a story, understand who your clients are, connect with them across the purchase funnel, provide moments of delight, keep them with you, close them as soon as you can, don't let them go. I mean, it's as simple as that. It sounds easy. I know it's hard, but that's pretty much
That's
like
the
the
hard part.
mantra.
Yeah, the basics. Technology
Yeah.
can never replace the marketing basics.
Yeah, and maybe ChatGPT and with everything that you have now with Sora, the new tools to create video, is gonna make our life easier to do a production. It's gonna make our life easier to do an amazing TV spot on the Super Bowl, maybe. But again, it's just about the brand, the brain behind that technology. And the way you create amazing stories is when you understand your client, when you have amazing strategic planning based on consumer understanding. And sometimes that takes a while, but that's what makes a difference in this game.
And the great way to understand consumers is through data. So let's talk more about data. Our third topic is Google's data power and website value. So could you kick us off on this topic, Max?
Well, data is the new pet, like the or blue ocean when it comes to digital marketing. Every time I've seen clients struggling with data, it's either because they don't have the right tools, they don't have the right approach, or they don't understand what they need the data for. And sometimes we've seen clients making tons of investments on platforms that they might not need. They might bought because they do fancy things they don't know how to execute, or they don't have the enablers to connect multiple platforms. The other part from when it comes to the power of data is providing relevant actions to your customers, making sure the basics are covered, your page speed, how your website loads on mobile, as simple as that. And again, just trying to understand what's the data for. Right now, we're seeing like with all the cookie-less world that Google said they were gonna shut down in 2019. Now they say 2020, then move it to 22. Now it's 24. We've seen companies panicking because they don't know what to do. And I think it's just as simple as let's have a strong foundation when it comes to first-party data, which is let's get more and understand who your visitor is. From an anonymous perspective, once we have the signal of a visit that came from New York, to turn that one into someone that we know that their name Max Montejo, who lives in big city, who likes this sport, and start creating conversations based on this data. That's pretty much the basics. So I think that's a big challenge right now. I've seen companies that are like struggling with this change of third party because this is attached to marketing dollars and marketing spend. But I think it's going to be fine as long as we understand what we want, and that's something that's the hardest question.
Yeah, we've been a big proponent of helping companies understand how to collect and what to do with first party data. And it's a big challenge for a lot of companies, especially when they've been so dependent all these years on third party data. No one really cared about their first party data, which is kind of funny. Data about their own customers often got ignored because they were always looking about, okay, let's find data from third parties so that we can find new customers. And no one ever thought to say, well, what if we looked deeper into our own customers to understand the first party data that we have or that we could have if we collected it and figured out what to do with it, and how we can leverage that to turn that into new customers. And I think that you're seeing more and more ways for people to do that now, and they're finally acting on it.
Yeah, and then let me add let me tell you a funny story about that point, David. I've seen clients collecting tons of data, like different tons of users with emails, full name, phone numbers, and they haven't activated any single action after they collect the data. And that's also, they're wasting their money because you're paying to collect that data on your website. You're doing different paid actions to bring customers to your profile, to your website. And at the same time, people don't do anything with them. That's the first one. The second story is, and this is for my students. I used to teach first on undergrads. Now I'm teaching executive education. But I don't know why, when I ask them, what's the first thing you will do for a brand? They always think about social media. And they think social media is an own channel. And they believe everything that's on social media belongs to them. So I always tell the story like, whatever tomorrow happens with each channel, they're going to lose everything because that doesn't belong to them. The only way for you to create an amazing first-party strategy is in your website. And that's why it's still a valuable asset in this world. Maybe it's going to change in the future, but today, if you're not using it, if you're not doing anything to collect data on your website, you're not in a good shape. So this is a good message for all of us listening. Your website is the most important property you currently have today. Yes, you can do amazing things on social media, but make them go to your website. Otherwise, you're going to be not able to connect that user who loves you with the personal information that you can act in different strategies.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's excellent. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the website is really the only place where you can own that customer or user or visitor in any way.
Yeah, and we also follow the next best action methodology, which is, okay, we have collected this information. What's next? Then the user went to this page. What's next? How do we turn them into the funnel from a prospecting side of the business to a closing? And then that requires from us different engines working together. personalization, different messages, or call center or sales team, making sure they connect with them in the right moment of the page. Let me explain to you something. From a user perspective, if someone tells you, thank you, David, for being in my website. I know you've been interested in this product, and then I also know that you read this, and this is the best solution for you. How do you feel? You feel, wow, you know about my habits, my search history in your website. Yes, I'm interested in this. That's the first approach. The second approach, which is the bad one, which be like, hey, David, thanks for leaving your information today. How can I help you? The user is like, well, you should know about more about me because you're giving you signals. So once you turn those signals into an action and to the next best action, I think that takes your brand to the next level, and that's something that we're trying to do here in Next Media.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've all experienced that where you filled out a form or something, somebody contacts you and they ask you all the same questions that you basically already, asked on the form. I mean, you get that at the doctor's office all the time, right? They make you fill out, 5 pages of information, and then you get in there and talk to the doctor and they're like, okay, what's wrong with you today? And you're just like, what did I fill out all this paperwork for?
Yeah.
Tell me about your medical history. Wait, I filled all that out, why did I fill all that out? It's kind of the same experience. And I felt the same way, in sort of the B2B world when I've, filled out a form online and someone reaches out to me and they're asking me all the same questions and they don't really know why I'm calling it or, why they don't know why they've called me, So yeah, that's a great point, collecting that information and acting on it and using it. And, even, being prepared for that call in the sense that, hey, if you ask the right questions, then going into the conversation, you could already be, presenting the solution.
And I think one of the reasons why this is happening, not like the fact that it's working not in a seamlessly manner, is because there are different silos inside each company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've seen companies with the sales team on one corner, the marketing team on the other, the customer experience in another city, and they don't even talk. And once they show up to meetings, they're just pointing fingers to each whose fault it was. Whereas I've seen other companies that are just trying to make sure everything is streamlined, because that comes from the higher ups saying like it's just one single company, one single experience that we just fulfill different moments. It's hard. It's very hard. I've seen this many times in the last 12 months. Like it's like teams don't talk to each other. Everyone's it's just fulfilling different KPIs. And then I think that's the biggest challenge. And it's not about technology. It's about communication.
Communication is key. Brings it back to humans, right? Like we can use all this technology, but we got to keep it human and we got to keep it back to the basics. But yeah, I thought, this was a great topic. And, one thing that we didn't really bring up is, website identification. And that's a form of data as well. Anything you'd want to talk about with that, David?
You're talking about website visitor identification?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for one, that's gotten more difficult, with all the deprecation of cookies, that has definitely got more difficult. But, Jesse brings that up specifically because, we do have a product for that. And it's funny because it's funny sometimes when you get pushback and someone says, oh, no, you can't do that with an IP address. And, there's really no other way to identify somebody. They don't have to register on the website. That's the only way that you're going to know. But, one of the things that we've done really well is build an IP to household identity graph. And so, we've been able to demonstrate that, even just with the IP address today, as it stands today, we're able to identify the consumers in that household. And that actually has been shown to be really helpful in a number of different methods for tracking, user visitors coming to the website, linking it, building retargeting campaigns, whether it be through direct mail or digital as well. And so, we're working with a number of clients that are doing both. And with our tracking pixel, and it's working really well successfully to this point, using IP address. And it's not easy, it's something that, we built a platform that literally has to analyze, something like 7 to 8 billion data signals a day to identify, the IDs that are linked to the IP addresses and the households associated with those IP addresses, and filter out, okay, which is an actual household IP address versus mobile or network or Starbucks or whatever it is. And so a lot of times people come to us and say, oh, I have a list of IP addresses. I want to know who these belong to. But, a lot of times people are just, on their mobile device. And so those IP addresses don't really link back to anybody. They link back to hundreds of people, thousands of people. So it's not it's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult, but we're one of the few companies that have found a way to do it, and it's pretty exciting. It's working really well.
Definitely. So anything that, have you worked a lot with any website visitor identification data, Max?
Yes. So I used to work with the data identification from a B2C perspective as well. Here in Next Media, we're trying to do it from a B2B level as well. So sometimes we have different technologies that allow us to understand what's the company that's visiting our website. We don't know who's the person, but we know that the company, and then we can just reach out from a cold outreach perspective on an automated basis, on a personal basis to the marketing team or the different teams that might be interested in the business. And that's something we do. We have different partners on that one. At the same time, we do different retargeting, trying to follow the account-based marketing book. We differentiate remarketing actions based on different moments. One could be from a client perspective, which is the easiest through cookies, but the other one is just through IPs and making sure we connect with that person either on LinkedIn or in other platforms as well. But we have our biggest challenge as an industry to approach these tactics. I think sometimes we are relying only on paid efforts such as Google and Facebook or Meta. And I think by doing this one-to-one data identification, making sure we take that signal into an ABM playbook or into LinkedIn or other platforms, maybe the story is gonna be different. But again, the challenge is what's the message we put in front of the customer? What's the different triggers that's gonna make sure they go into the next level of the customer journey? Sometimes brands, they don't have the bandwidth to come up with different creative messages or to connect with different messages across the funnel. And what the user sees is just this, they just see the same ad over and over. Let me put this example in a day-to-day action. Well, what would happen if every time you see me, I look the same way I'm dressing today, like a passport picture? You'll be like, Max, you look outdated. You look like you never take a same thing. The consumer judges your creativity based on every time they see you. And if you add a remarketing of like a frequency of 20 or 25 with the same ad, I think there's a big challenge as well, just to have diversification of your creative messages. And that's something that you connect with this website identity tools, because that's key to bring the results you need.
The importance of having quality IP data.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, this has been a really great conversation, but we have to make sure that we get to our fourth topic, because we asked this to all of the guests on Deconstructing Data, which is, what are your favorite tools in your tech stack, Max?
Wow, this is a very good topic that I really enjoy. We've been building our tech stack here at Next Media, and I also advise different companies. But let me give you different companies that we're looking right now. So when it comes to data, consumer data, and also to like sales outreach and identifying those anonymous visitors into companies, I really like what the guys at ZoomInfo are doing right now. I think ZoomInfo is becoming our go-to-market tool to identify intent people or intent users that are willing to buy our products. So that's definitely a tool that I recommend. I also we are also using G2 as a way to increase and improve our game when it comes to the reviews we have as a tool, as a platform as well. So I think that's a good one. From a attribution perspective, I've used multiple tools in the past 2-3 years, from Google, from third party as well. Right now, I've been using a tool that's called Segmetrics, and a big shout out to those guys. They're giving us good data, and especially like I can see the different levels of engagement my client has before they become customers. So for example, I can check the email of a customer and I can go back in time to say, oh, this person came through a paid ad 90 days ago. And in this process, they visit 25 different landing pages at the same time. I think that's a good one as well. When it comes to like listening to sales conversation and improving the way we sell, We're using chorus.ai, belongs to ZoomInfo as well. And it's amazing because we're saving time listening to different convos, whereas we just get reports from which one of our sales rep is doing the longest monologue, for example. We can have triggers every time someone uses different words from our competitors. So from a marketing standpoint, we turn those triggers into insights. And of course, when it comes to CRM, I've been fortunate enough to be playing with different tools. We have, of course, I really like Salesforce in a way. We have a CRM, but Salesforce has a couple of things. And then I can say this from my experience. If you're a mature business with the wallet to afford not only Salesforce, but also a partner that's going to help you build everything on Salesforce, you should go for them. But also HubSpot or ActiveCampaign, there are very good tools when it comes to early stages of your business. And last but not least, I like Figma as well from a tech stack when it comes to designing. And the last one we are using when it comes to heat maps is Hotjar as well. So that's pretty much my tech stack. And I've been working with those brands for more than 3-4 years, and we've seen very good results from that one.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all those tools.
Yeah, it's good stuff. There's some of them we've heard before, and some new ones too. So great, thank you for sharing. I know our listeners enjoy hearing it because sometimes that's the best way to learn about tools for your business is finding people that are having success with a tool and trying it out yourself. So
definitely, cool. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Max.
Thank you.
And in closing, Max, would you like to tell the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, you can go to our website, nextnetmedia.com. If you want to know more about the different brands we have in our umbrella and how we can help your business, come find us on nextnetmedia.com. If you want to talk to me from a one-to-one perspective, my LinkedIn is always open 24/7 for all of you. I try to answer all the different messages I get. You can find me on LinkedIn as Max Gomez Montejo, Gomez with a Z as in zebra. And also you can Google my name. You're going to have my LinkedIn, my Instagram, and all other channels as well. But if you want to talk more about Next Media, go to our website and we'll be ready to help you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And before we go, audience members, you can also learn more about Powered by BDEX capabilities on our website. I'll go ahead and put up a QR code that you can scan if you're watching the video. But if you are on podcast, just simply go to bdex.com and you can talk to an expert there. But this will enable you to leverage BDEX's identity graph and all of the features with the OmniIQ product as well, and even the AI-powered audience creation capabilities. So just simply go to bdex.com, click on Talk to an Expert to learn more about how to improve your data strategy. And if you are interested in Deconstructing Data sponsorship opportunities, please reach out to us to learn more. We would love to hear from you as well. If you know of any guests or any topics that you would like to hear about, please reach us at info@bdex.com and share your qualitative data with us so we can make this better for you. And thanks again, Max, for joining us.
Jesse, David, thank you for having me today, and looking forward to joining in another episode as well.
Sounds good, Max. Thanks again. I really appreciate you joining us on Deconstructing Data today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.